is my next hot take, yeah? The single greatest genocides of the human race from rock and bone till now. And I don't even have to include anything in the last few centuries, because the definition of genocide, right, I would like to extend to anything that, is alive and can feel. And if you've watched my educational playlist by predominantly smarter people than myself, with me just, giving you a TLDR of what a layman can take away from this and apply it to the logic of how the world is. Plants, they're alive, they feel pain, they may not think, they might not communicate on our level, but the evidence is there that they know when you're fucking mutilating them to eat them, right? I believe single-celled life is alive because, well, viruses exist, and viruses are very capable of fucking killing us, and they're not even as complex as a single-celled organism. They can't reproduce without hijacking something else. And they can hijack single-celled organisms that are that small. So, single greatest genocides throughout all of human history. Well, you just got to look at the extinction of something, yeah? Right? And some of these are ongoing. Welcome to the sixth extinction. It's been going on for a while, right? There are stories of Roman gladiators, and when you understand that how late into human development ancient Rome really was, and how advanced ancient Rome was for its time, they had steam power, for goodness sakes. Didn't utilize it. We could have been on the moon centuries before we were. I blame Christianity for that one. Alright? Well, the lions. Lions used to be from Africa all the way through to East Asia, all of Europe, right? The Romans took that many lions for their fucking gladiatorial games. You can still see the impacts of how many were taken by how endangered they are today, right? When you look at how far spread they used to be, and like we can take that further. Well, there's obviously like the relations, tigers, cheetahs, and all that stuff through Africa, blah blah blah. Think about it this way: there's a lot of leopard and cheetah looking like animals in South America, and well, there's the mountain lion in South America, the cougar, right? Right. So you want a perfect example of a domesticated cougar? Look no further than this beautiful Russian couple on YouTube that have Messi the puma. These things could have been turned into a similar role that we have dogs, right? They would have made perfect shepherd animals, especially when you see how affectionate Messi is, because it's literally been hand-reared since a cub. If that's what one generation of tender love and care can do for an animal, right? And we have evidence, fossil evidence, to show that every fucking dog on this planet is descendant of a domesticated wolf, right? It's not undoable. There's not some genetic difference between a cow and a fucking like Tyrannosaurus Rex going on a rampage in terms of whether or not it can be domesticated. It just requires tender love and care, nature and nurture over the course of several generations, and you will specifically breed it to what you want to be. Take the mighty wolf, which is a descendant of the mega bear. The fucking mega bear. Right? A grizzly bear 5 times the size of a normal fucking bear. Right? That is like the fossological record. We can show wolves are a descendant of this motherfucker. Right? We took the mega bear, hunted it down to the wolf, right? Took the wolf, and we have now turned it into a fucking chihuahua. Right? South America, right? Chihuahua, right? But look at what chihuahuas are now. Like, if you want an example of a more useless dog that like has no genetic purpose in nature and can't survive without fucking human interaction or intervention, the pug. It literally chokes on its own body. It chokes on its own body. Now, single greatest genocides: the lion. And all of its cousins, right? Every other coexisting hominid, as Homo sapien left Africa, into Europe, into Asia, into the Americas, and so on and so forth. You got Neanderthal, Where do you think red hair comes from? It comes from Neanderthals. It's the reason why you have some red-headed Asians. It's the reason why you have some red-headed Native Americans. Right? It's more predominant in Scandinavia because we were the last holdout, right? And then that, spreads through Irish and Scottish. So you got my ancestry there. Convicts, fucking, the Irish slave trade. Google that one. Right? Blah, 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 blah. Right? Neanderthals have always had a fucking hard lump of it, and all that exists is left of them is red hair. I wear it with honor. That's a long since dead trouble. God. Because my interpretation of God is every honourable motherfucker that died. They led to us getting here. And you can see the projected future by having watched my video playlist. Alright? So, bears, big cats, right? We owe the horse better, at the very least. We owe the horse better. Right? Every other hominid that was on equal intelligence, red deer cave people in China, right? This would be considered a hot take in Australia, but the fossil evidence shows that there were Micronesians and Polynesians and Southeast Asian islanders here before what could be considered the first indigenous person. Right? The dingo comes from Indonesia. It's not an Australian dog, by the way. Rock and bone. Rock and bone. There has been multiple migrations since the beginning of human evolution out of Africa. The horse started in North America before humans were even fucking there. So, again, single race genocides. Bears. Big cats. Every other hominid that was on equal intelligence. Right? And, well, think about it this way. 99% of all life before human race is dead, extinct, and buried. But we, as a human race, have been responsible for, out of what is left of that 1%, being reduced by a ridiculous percentage. Just to think about it. We as a species have the delusion that this planet's only purpose is to serve us. To which our projected technology has gone to the extent that we could literally just turn this fucking entire planet into a spaceship. And deconstruct entire planets. The only reason that we would keep this planet going is out of sentimentality because, historically, we come from this blue marble. The science is there. So, in saying this, I don't even need to touch the last 200 years. That's just cousins beating other cousins up. This is what it is like to be a humanist. You don't give a shit when you understand the history because we're all one fucking family. We're all interbred from some bitch named Lucy who probably, had some other weird tribal name, right? Who comes out of Africa. You have seen projects in my playlist where, instead of fighting each other in wars, we could be building superhighways and, transcontinental trainways and shipping lanes and so on and so forth, right? I'm going to do a segment on mining next because the amount of resources in Australia and the resources in Russia, right? And if you watch that climate change video specifically about Russia, you should know what I'm tipping at here. Titanium is the predominant metal you need for your generational ships getting into space. Russia has the biggest reserves of it. Full stop, end of story, period, because it's the largest landmass that gets the most meteorites in space. Titanium is a space metal, right? Earth isn't big enough to fuse titanium in the ground, and our sun's not old enough to have fused any itself. It's a space rock from a dead fucking star. So, yeah. In Norse mythology and all pagan mythologies, there is a shared goddess that is the Earth itself. Her name is Gaia. Mother Earth. Something to think about. Alright? I base most of my knowledge on a layman's understanding of science and a philosophy of, well, every good motherfucker who died to get us here should be remembered. You see the prospects of technology going forward into Type 1 and Type 2. I won't live to see this fucking shit. But my grandchildren will live to see the day that, you know, you can easily back someone's entire consciousness up to a fucking USB stick and carry it around in your fucking purse. Right? So, do it for them. Is ultimately my message. Do no harm, take no shit, educate yourself, pass it on, right? Because in a couple of generations, our great-great-grandkids will be jetting off to fucking space and living forever, and this is your one goal of making a good story.